Good afternoon and welcome to the Embedded Executive Podcast. My name is Rich Nass. I'm the Executive Vice President of Open Systems Media. I lead the embedded and IoT teams for embedded computing design. My guest this week is Andrew Baker. He is the co-founder and CEO of Orca Semiconductor. Andrew and I have known each other for quite some time. We go back to a few stops that Andrew has made along the way. And the last stop that he had, we were talking about healthcare things. And I have a feeling that this new role that he's in this startup is going to take us down that healthcare path as well. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Rich, for having me today. And great to see you. It's been a while.
Same here. Thank you very much. So did I guess right on the healthcare?
Absolutely. That is one of the focus vertical markets that we're addressing with our new startup, Orca Semiconductor.
Now, there are two ways you can go in healthcare. One is the MRI machine, the tens of thousands of dollars for equipment, or more in the handheld, which I'm guessing is your experience, where it's more of a consumer type device. Am I guessing right?
Absolutely. So we're addressing the emerging, let's say, connected health, as they say, we're calling it smart health. And it's really about additional data points for health markers so that people can make more informed decisions. And that's the segment we're addressing with the initial products that we're developing, the semiconductor solutions.
Okay, so I won't say this is a crowded space, but there's definitely people already fairly well entrenched in the space. Why do you think we need a newcomer?
Well, the pace of innovation in this sector is quite rapid, so there's always need for new solutions coming up. So, we're just at the beginning of this revolution in terms of new way of delivering healthcare. So, there's a lot to be done.
Okay, would you go into that a little bit? What is there to be done?
So in terms of form factors, there's a drive to have them more convenient for use. So that drives size constraints, power constraints. So the initial area that we're focusing on is delivering excellent and innovative power solutions for these wearable devices.
Now, are we talking about the power solutions themselves, or are we referring to microcontrollers that are running at low power?
So we're working on solutions that provide power to the SoCs or microcontrollers within the system. So today there's very aggressive power saving modes that are being implemented. So even between measurements, they're going into deep sleep and coming out of deep sleep. So you need innovative power solutions in order to enable those aggressive implementations.
And are we talking about different materials, or are you innovating on the software side?
So it's a combination, as always, of software and hardware, but we're focused on the hardware side in terms of a power management IC. So it covers battery management, so charging. So one of the things about the battery management area is the fact that you want to get the maximum capacity available out of your batteries. So charging it to the maximum is important, but safely so that you don't deteriorate the lifetime of the batteries. So that's one of the areas that we've been innovating. As well as on the SoC side, these MCUs are implementing, as I mentioned, very aggressive power saving modes. So they go into deep sleep, come out of that, and they need to come out of that very quickly. And they need to be able to basically just have the most energy efficient operation that they can.
So why do you think you can do better than what's out there today?
So as I said, the innovation continues to go at a fast pace. So the solutions that are available today don't necessarily meet all of the requirements of the latest SoC. So there's always a need to upgrade and improve the solutions that are coming out in terms of power to keep pace with the microcontrollers. So there's always opportunities to engage with customers on specific requirements for their system. Because there's a lot of standard products out there, but the standard products in a lot of cases with these new applications just don't cut it because they're either too large, they don't meet the requirements, or they're just somehow compromised. So customers are always looking for something new that integrates the latest and greatest features that they don't have to have, 20 components. Why not have, just a handful?
hmm So who is the typical customer for you? Is it the person who's designing the system?
So the typical customer for us is really the OEM who's developing the product. So, for example, a chest strap or smartwatch, fitness watch. This kind of customer is our target.
Okay. And what's the reception so far?
The reception is, I mean, our overall strategy in terms of the story about people being not heard by the big analog players of today. So they've just become too big, unwieldy. They have an army of salespeople that are around that are trying to do the best for the customers. But the fact is that these companies are multi-billion dollar, in some cases, $10 to $20 billion corporations now, and they're looking for big hits, big opportunities. And the customers we're talking to that where our story resonates, they're not, these trillion-dollar operations that you might see that custom solutions would be easily accessible to them. So we're going to offer those customers that are left behind the opportunity to have a more tailored or customized solution to meet their needs.
So what's the hardest part about what you guys are doing? What's stopping more people from doing startups?
The hardest part, honestly, is that it's analog is also considered, non-sexy. In other words, everybody's looking towards AI. Oh, are you guys doing anything on AI? Well, yeah, we actually could power an AI chip, and guess what? The world is still analog. You still need a lot of analog stuff around these big digital AI processing chips. So AI is also creeping into some of these wearable devices, but ultimately, it's a necessity. I think the reluctance for people to do endeavors like we're undertaking right now is the fact that they think the market is crowded. But understanding and seeing it from the inside of the big corporations, there are opportunities, and there is an abundance. The challenge we have, of course, is being an unknown supplier. So
Mhm.
there's obviously a lot of fear surrounding that. But in terms of technology and manufacturing partner availability, there's very credible partners out there which we've selected to work with.
Going back to your point about analog, um, it seems like the universities are all graduating people with digital expertise. Are you finding it's difficult to find people with analog expertise?
It
And as a part two to that, when you're explaining this to the customer, do they understand what it is that you're doing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It is challenging finding good analog engineering talent. That's a fact because a lot of people coming out with university with software backgrounds, digital, everybody's thinking about AI, how they're going to implement this stuff. But there are some universities, and the area that we're looking at is still providing us with a talent pool. So our location's in Milan, Italy, and there's still, analog experience, and we're working with local universities also to ensure we have the right talent pool coming through.
And then the part B to the question, do the customers understand it?
Customers do understand the challenges with analog, and I think, unfortunately, the customers as well. The analog engineers are also starting to get a little gray haired like myself, and there's fewer and fewer engineers coming through. So it's almost yeah, it's a challenge for our customers as well. So they're looking for more and more integrated solutions to make their lives easier in terms of the implementation.
Okay. I won't put a year on it, but when I was in engineering school, I was the last class that had the analog program as the mainstream. You could take digital classes as electives, but everybody after me, that was mandatory to do digital design. So you can figure out how old I am from there.
Yeah, I think I have a few more gray hairs than you, Rich. So you're doing pretty good.
Thanks much. So what's next? What will you and I be talking about a year from now?
So we have some, I'm not ready to reveal yet, but we have
I don't
some
mean from a
exciting
product
news.
perspective. I mean more from a general perspective.
Yeah, yeah. So
We're
in
just going to keep
terms,
going further and further down the low power path, or is there something more revolutionary out there?
yeah, so this is our first step because we're in the phase of building our IP portfolio on a common platform. We have next step will be in the industrial area. You may have heard of Industry 4.0, where digitization of the factory is happening. So basically, everybody's converting analog things into digital things as usual, gathering more data, analyzing what's happening on the factory floor and making everything more efficient. This whole drive towards sustainability is also a big factor in that area. So, plays into our strengths and our strategy of making everything more efficient, adding value in that respect. So, yeah, a lot of things in the pipeline that we're working on, and I'd be glad to share those with you when the time is appropriate.
Okay. What's with the name of the company, Orca?
So there's a long story, but really just to cut a long story short, our lead investor was interested in naming their groups after intelligent sea mammals. So yeah,
Dolphin was already taken.
well, there are other companies. Yeah, there's a company called Dolphin. There's one called Whale, and we chose Orca because it kind of characterizes orca whales. They can be aggressive. They bite. But they're very communal, and they can be extremely intelligent but aggressive when needed. So that's kind of the background to that. But
Okay, that
yeah,
sounds great.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, I thank you for your time, Andrew. Thank you for filling the audience in on what you guys are doing.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks, Rich.
That was Andrew Baker. He is the co-founder and CEO of Orca Semiconductor, and I'm Rich Nass with Open Systems Media.